Last time on Square Roots, Shepard gets the ultimate makeover, Garrus gets a glow down, and we meet Morden, the greatest video game character of all time. Also, we pour some back and tear it up on the dance floor. You know, saving the galaxy stuff.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Hello.
John the Convict Brandon.
Oh, I've got all sorts of biotic abilities. Wait till you see them.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs like Mass Effect 2. Would Mass Effect 2 have been better with a subtitle? Like Mass Effect 2.
Andromeda.
Mass Effect 2. Reapers are real. Mass Effect 2, The Reaping.
I don't know that anything that they wrote for this game could be considered particularly good, so...
Whoa, suck it, BioWare.
Mass Effect 2, The Ambitions of the Elusive Man.
You could just have Mass Effect 2.
That's a good name for a DLC, man. I think.
Yeah, I was gonna. The next thing I'm gonna do for this game is buy some DLCs. I'm gonna get the all. Let's see, what are there? I remember there's one bad one, but there's Khalid, DJ Khaled.
There's Khalid. There's ZD or whatever his name is.
Who's DD?
There's the Den of the Shadow Broker.
That's the good one for sure.
That's the good
There's
one.
the thief one.
Yeah, Kasumi Ninja.
Kasumi Ninja, which that one's okay.
Yeah, no, that one's fun.
I have them.
I thought there was one that just wasn't that good. One that was just like a boring mission.
You should definitely pay $1.99 for that firepower pack, because I'm not even kidding. Those guns you get make the game very, very, very easy.
The game isn't that hard.
I'm having kind of a tough time with it.
Yeah, Vanguard's a little tricky.
That's because you picked the hardest one.
I did.
Yeah. The internet was like, don't pick this one. It's too hard. And Matt's like, oh, I'm going to pick
Well,
it.
I think you can respec your dude and just like put everything into that charge power and shotguns.
But that's kind of what I've done, and that's kind of my problem is like the shotgun doesn't feel strong enough. Like I teleport in and blow everybody away, but then I still got to pump like 6 shots into them to take them down. And then all their friends are shooting me. And then you have to turn around and just run for cover, which is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, lower the difficulty, you baby.
So what do we do on this podcast?
I already said it.
We watch a bad movie and then we talk about it.
What's going on? Where am I?
No.
We were playing Mass Effect 2. We talked about that.
Okay.
This is episode 2 in our Mass Effect series. We're going to talk about recruiting some characters and a story mission in this episode. But before we do, why don't we talk about how we leveled up this past week?
Sure.
I'll go first. You know what? I'll go first. Let me set the tone. I watched a new show this week, started a new show this week called 30 Coins. It's a Spanish language like horror mystery drama that is airing on HBO. That was produced by HBO Europe, which I didn't know was a thing. But it's directed by Gabriel de la Iglesia, who's like a Spanish horror director. He's been around since the 80s. He's done some pretty well-renowned movies in that kind of circuit. He directed like Javier Bardem before Javier Bardem was like a big thing. But it's a show about a small town in Spain where all of this crazy stuff happens because people are looking for one or multiple of the coins that Judas got when he betrayed Jesus, which I guess are like magic. But it's super graphic. In the first episode, there's some stuff that's like that that really surprised me, like in terms of like, oh, this is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen, or like this is way more graphic than I expected. And it's great. All the actors are good. The special effects are great. It is in Spanish. It's entirely in Spanish. So if subtitles are not your thing, you probably wouldn't be into it. But it's a really good show. It's really intense. The performances are great. The writing is good. Yeah, it's good. Check it out.
If you don't like subtitles, Square Roots actually does. It's our side hustle. We will redub a whole episode of whatever show for $1,000. And we'll do the voices of all the characters. So certainly
Will do.
feel free to contact Square Roots' side hustle, Square Roots Dubs.
Yeah, in the first episode of the show, there's a
Square Roots dubbed
a
over.
cow that gives birth to a human baby.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the show just gets more insane from there. And like there was. I'm a big sucker for when there's like actual monsters and things. There's actual monsters in this show, and I like it.
So the one thing I've noticed with peak TV, like with high prestige TV, I like to watch TV while I'm eating, and most shows now involve someone's eyes getting ripped out at one point or another.
Yeah, every show.
Pretty much.
It happens on every single show.
Yep. Like Discovery, Picard, that show with the hero show, The Boys, has some eyes ripping out.
Mhm.
There's
Oh, sure.
Nathan Fillion's The Rookie, The Good Doctor.
Definitely The Mandalorian. When that Baby Yoda's eyes got ripped out, I was quite disturbed.
Mhm. Chopped, The Bachelor.
Kitchen Nightmares. That's every episode.
Mhm.
That's Gordon
I-
Ramsay
I mean,
carving
that's a
people's
kitchen
eyes
nightmare
out.
right there.
yeah.
Diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah, diving
Yeah.
into their eye sockets,
Diving into
those-
those eyes, driving through that connective tissue with a knife. It's
And-
pretty gross.
dining on the eyes.
Dining on the eyes, yes.
A Late Show with Stephen Colbert. They're just popping eyes everywhere.
Those are
The show
all
doesn't have
prestige
any-
television shows.
The show doesn't have any eye trauma in it, but there is a baby that turns into a bigger baby
Uh-oh.
that turns into a monster.
Oh no, big
which
baby
is,
monster.
Which is pretty cool.
Did any of you play the Resident Evil 2 remake?
No, I haven't played the remake.
There's so much like more gore in that, because the first game was like big chunky cute polygons. The new one's like, oh, there's their organs coming out.
You know, John.
I don't know how to really articulate my feelings on like gore and stuff because I'm very squeamish.
Yeah,
Me too.
But like if it's like done in like a heightened way, it doesn't bother me. But if it's like a Saw type thing where people are like reacting to having their innards taken out and stuff, like fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm checking out.
Can
of
we
that.
go back to talking about how we will take $1,000 to dub over a show? Because can we do that with other shows other than
Yeah, of
eye
course.
gouging shows? Can you
Yeah.
give me some examples? And is it $1,000 total or $1,000 a piece?
$1,000 per episode, so it's $250 each.
A piece? No. It's $1,000 a piece.
No, it's $250 a piece.
Okay. It's $250 for John, Jim, and I. And if you want Matt, you're going to have to pony up
Okay,
an extra
yeah, that's
1,000.
fair.
Yeah, an extra G.
Yeah. Wait, no, then it's 333 for. Wait, what?
Don't come at me with
Okay.
math.
You know, John, it's called bargaining, and you don't want to start, from a compromised position, and you really just blew it for all of us there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Imagine all the moolah we could be rolling in as as Square Roots dubs over, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes. Oh, so it doesn't even have to be a show not in English.
No,
No.
sure, it could
Okay.
be any show.
Okay.
So that's it for me. 30 coins on HBO. Watch on HBO Max. It's very good.
I do want to see it. It sounds really cool.
It is really cool. John, how did you level up?
Oh man, I did. So it's my last week of vacation. Just wrapping up now, and I did so much. I redecorated my office, which had that loft bed, because I used to just rent one room in the house, and now I have two rooms, and the other room has a bed. So I had this loft bed I wasn't using. I was like, oh well, if people come visit, they can sleep or I can sleep in the loft bed and they can have the big bed. But then a pandemic happened and no one is going to be visiting. So I had this giant bed that took up half a room. or more than that. So the bed is gone. I have a new office, and it is
Wow.
spacious.
Is that what we're seeing in the background of your Zoom here? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah. You can see there's the kitchen. There's the
Where's the door
back.
chained closed?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah. If you were to pan around, you see a big hole in the wall.
Yeah,
there. You
exactly.
could crawl out and have adventures.
Yeah, but I've bbeen redecorating. I got some art. Like my friend sent me this piece of art 3 years ago that I got framed, and yeah, I'm excited. I got all so I have room for activities. I'm going to get my copy of Ring Fit back from my friend so I can do workouts. Turns out that disassembling a loft bed is even worse than assembling a loft bed because there's no good way to do it.
Disassembling furniture is always worse than assembling it.
Yeah. So I gave those away. I have a couch coming. So right now I'm couchless, and I'm getting some art framed. And it turns out framing art is really expensive. I would not recommend sending your friends large pieces of art for them to frame.
This is for our 1%er listeners that have art that they frame regularly.
I didn't know. I thought it would be like $50. Turns out no. So other than that, I've been playing that Fist of the North Star game, the one that the Yakuza team made on PS4, and it's just like a Yakuza game, but it's Fist of the North Star, and it's amazing. It is so homoerotic. Like, you know how most games like concentrate on ladies' chests or butts? This game, the camera is like always centered on the bulges of the men in these leather like briefs that they're.
Yeah.
It is a very homoerotic game, and if it's not done on purpose, then I don't know what to say. How could this not be on purpose at this point?
I saw a screen cap that you posted on Twitter.
Yeah.
That was of a ripped guy like in little bikini underwear. He might have had a cape too.
Yeah.
But like he had the most ripped quads I've ever
And what was
seen.
in the center of that frame?
His junk.
Yeah.
I was watching a little bit of one of my favorite movies, The Godfather.
Uh-huh.
And it struck me for the first time, that movie's kind of homoerotic.
Ugh.
It is. It's like all these men, and
Yeah, but they're all
they're
awful.
just manning around, and they're all awful, but they wear very tight pants. I mean, I guess it's period, but it's like there's a lot of shots of like people bending over and shit. Watch it again with homoerotic eyes. You'll
I
see
think
what
I'd
I'm
have to be
talking about.
attracted to someone in that movie, and
Oh, well, that's hard because they're all monsters.
yeah, exactly. Now, before I finish my level up, I'd like to say, Vanessa, have you heard about PogChamp?
Yeah, I heard about PogChamp. A lot of times, people like my friends here on Square Roots, they come to me because I'm the youngest and therefore the most hip and down with the kids and what they are talking about. And a while ago, they came to me and they were like, Vanessa, what's Poggers? And so I had to explain that it was, originally Pog being play of the game, which then evolved into PogChamp being an emote that was very popular on the Twitter. And then people started, instead of using that emote, they would say Poggers instead. It's just, an evolution of language kind of thing. So I know all about PogChamp and what that is.
Did you know that emote has been banned because that, for reasons we won't get into, that guy sucks.
Yeah, for reasons we won't get into on the show, if you want to know what's happening in the world, watch the news, as I have been every hour for the past 5 days. But they got rid of that, and instead they have decided to do a rotating PogChamp emote. So when you type PogChamp into Twitch, you will get a new surprise fun emote of a different streamer every day until they decide to stop doing it.
Someone I follow on Twitter posted their idea for what the PogChamp emote was, and Jim was actually mad that I didn't let him know about this PogChamp emote idea, which was the dad from Harvester.
Yeah. you retweeted a tweet that was like it was set up to be like a quote from the dad from Harvester, and it's like, you think they'll have meat? They have meat?
Steve, will they have meat?
Yeah, Steve.
Steve, will you tell him about
So
me?
Vanessa,
Yeah.
how else, other
Yeah.
than watching the news for 20-something hours a day, how have you leveled up?
Well, John, it's a brand new year, isn't it? And you know what that means? I had a banging New Year's Eve party.
Wait,
Because
Vanessa.
of...
there's a
yeah?
pandemic.
Well, yeah, I know. It was limited.
No
I only had
pandemics on
8
New Year's,
people
bro.
over. Yeah, as well as the 10 residents of my island.
That's too many
and
people.
Also, Isabel and Tom Nook were there. It's not too many people, like we were outdoors. There was a big clock. We didn't wear masks because it would mess up our formal wear. But yeah, I had a whole bunch of people over to my private island. And Tom Nook sold them some hats and some whiz bangs and things like that. And we all gathered in the plaza at midnight to watch the countdown clock and waved our light sticks in the air and rang in the New Year's the same way we have spent all of 2020 on Animal Crossing, the greatest video game of all time. It was really fun. When I was asking people if they wanted to come, I got nervous. I'm like, nobody wants to come to my island on New Year's. I know we're all stuck at home, but come on. And what if nobody comes to my party? And then I opened it up, and someone came after half an hour after I opened the gate. But by the time it was New Year's, it was chock-a-block full, and I felt so popular.
Aww.
That sounds
Yeah,
fun.
that's my story. It was fun. Also, I got a new chair because my cat peed on the old chair because he's stupid.
Oh.
He's not having medical issues. I've checked him all out. He just has issues. He has psychological issues. So he peed on this chair, and I was like, I'm not going to bother cleaning this old, cushy armchair. It was fine when it was bought, but it's very old. Hauled it out of the house. And then 2 days later, my somebody who lives very close to me just happened to text a couple days later and was like, hey, you want a chair by any chance? And I was like, oh, they must have seen this old chair that I hauled out and put in the alley. And I was like, oh, did you see my old chair? They're like, no, we just are getting rid of this plush pleather armchair and want to know if you want it. And in fact, I did. So I was mad at my cat for a couple of days, but then I realized that he was just doing his duty and clearing out the old to make way for the new. New used furniture. It's great. It's very comfy. It is pleather, and I am worried that the cat will ruin it by deciding to claw it, as he did with some pleather dining room chairs when he was a kitten. However, he hasn't done it yet, and he doesn't like to be on it because it is too slippy for his little paws. So I'm hoping that this chair will have a good, happy life in its new.
I think Matt's brains are flowing out of his ears with all this cat talk.
Matt, how did you level up?
I did not level up this week.
What?
Yeah, that's fair.
I did do I watched some of a show that we're going to be talking about on the January bonus ep, and
You watch some of a
Let's
some is
just-
an understatement.
let's just say that if I were to spoil it, I would feel bad and say,
Oh, that's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, bleep that out. Yeah, but so the listeners are aware, we had agreed as a group to watch 3 episodes of a
4.
particular show. Matt, how many episodes would you say you've watched? Well, 3 to 4. It's under negotiation. I have a new proposal that you may have missed,
Oh.
John, wherein rather than episodes in a row, 3 very special particular ones would be chosen because I do not want to watch this show at all. So I thought maybe if you guys pick good
Okay,
ones,
yeah, I'm fine with that.
I will feel better about it. And Matt, how many shows have you watched? How many episodes?
well, somewhere in the range of 60 to 80. Let's call
Normal.
it 75.
A normal amount.
You know what? Usually I'd be like razzing you and making fun of you for this, but we all gotta do what we gotta do right now.
Matt, there must be something you did other than that.
Yeah, I worked like over 60 hours this week. That's what I did.
It's crunch time getting those cyberpunk patches finished.
Jeez. You know, Matt, you really borked up that launch.
Yeah, you know, I listeners may know that my Matthew Van Zandt is just an alias. My real name is CD Projekt Red, and I did make the game The Witcher 2074.
Yes, The Witcher 2074, the game we are all talking about.
And I'm patching it in my underwear as we speak. You know, I did take a break so that we could discuss this game, Mass Effect, but I'm going to cut all of your level ups down to about 30 seconds apiece.
Okay.
It'll just be me saying 30 coins, and then John saying frames, and Vanessa saying New Year's.
Cat.
Yeah, cat. Now we're going to fire up our Omni tools and access the codex.
Yeah.
Y'all think the Omni tool could is it all purpose?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it can turn into a knife in the next game, so it can definitely turn into a dildo if that's where you're going with this.
Yeah, Vanessa, the thing is,
How
you
dare
have to,
you?
if you want to do that, you have to make sure you go to a good store in the Citadel. You don't want to just download a mod to your Omni tool from like a random website, because that's going to like put in spyware, or it might get like some kind of crazy virus. And frankly, with what you're going to do with that, you want it to be professionally made and assured, a good warranty on it.
I want that Shepard
it's just
VI
gonna-
on mine.
Oh, I was just gonna fix my Joy-Con drift.
Yeah, your Joy-Con.
Can we start this episode off by talking about how unwieldy the like third-person controls are? And even though I know that it's like a game of its time, it still kind of irks me as I play it. It kind of annoys me.
Well, I just think that men should really know where the Joy-Con is, and that the Joy-Con... Some guys don't even know the Joy-Con exists.
So no, then we can't talk about that. The doofy way Shepard runs around with his
love it
fucking...
so much.
Yeah.
Particularly when you're
I guess
in
she
a
is
combat
pretty
area
derpy.
and you're walking around with your fucking gun pointed out in front of you the whole time.
Yeah.
That's real dumb. I mean, listen, I know that you can holster it, but it's still real stiff and goofy.
I was watching John's stream, and it's still... I thought this when we played the first game. It's still unbelievable to me, the person that they cast to do the male Shepard voice. That's a fucking terrible voice actor. I'm sorry. That person is terrible at conveying any kind of emotion or urgency. It sounds like shit all the time.
It's really shocking, especially because Jennifer Hale, is that the right name? Jennifer Hale?
Yes.
As female Shepard is, I think, one of the best
Oh, it's...
voice
yeah,
I gotta-
she's great.
performances of all
Y'all
time.
gotta remind me
Yeah.
when we do Mass Effect 3 to do female Shep. I gotta be honest with you, because I think I meant to do it this time too, and I didn't do it. I keep getting this guy.
Fem Shep is better,
Boring.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And yet, I have read on the internet that only something like 40% or something like that of gamers play as FemShep ever. What's up with that? Get good, get FemShep.
Have you ever been a part of a gaming community, Vanessa? Is it really that shocking?
No, I don't mess around with that. I try sometimes. I go on the Twitch machine, and I've been let down. I gotta tell you, like, I'll find someone whose work I enjoy, and then I'll go and look at their Twitter, and they're like, "Here's a fun comic about how transgendered people are bad," and I'm like, "Okay, unfollow, unsubscribe, delete." Nope, not gonna do it.
So, Matt, which run do you object to more? Is it the light jog that Shepard does, or is it the charge?
The gun out charge is definitely the worst because the camera shakes around behind him like it is in an earthquake. It's
That's bad.
crazy.
I don't know what it was about like Microsoft games around this time, but like this and Gears of War both had the running shaky cam, like kind of like they moved the camera down to like the butt of the of the character and then like jostle it around while following I don't know, man. It's
just
disorienting.
It's
It sucks.
dynamic.
It works. I'm just getting back to the camera, like the camera, but like the movement in general. It works, but it's unwieldy.
Sometimes I charge into like the wrong side of an object and then trying to like get
Mhm.
out of cover and not, if you're playing on hard and you get flanked, you die in a couple of seconds. So it's really annoying to have this horrible charge to cover thing that doesn't work super well. I mean, I like the game, but that's like the one part where, especially with mouse and keyboard, it just doesn't work super great.
It's got a
It's the
pretty
cover
good
mechanic.
amount of like traversal too. Like you'll clear the 30 waves of enemies from an area, and then it's like, all right, now like what the game expects you to do is like now walk around and like find all of the loot that we've hidden, which is a thing I love in games. But certainly in this game, it's like, oh boy. I gotta fucking make this stick man try to turn and go through this
One of the
fucking
things
door.
I like about this game, though, is that it kind of makes exploration easy, and that all you have to do is point your character in the direction of something you can interact with, and it'll pop up in the HUD.
Yeah, that is helpful. I've noticed
So
that
like
too.
you don't have to be like right next to something. You can be like across the field and still pick up on like a collectible.
The little objective radar that you can get by clicking in the sticks helps really well too for being like,
Yes,
where
it
am I
does.
supposed to be going? Oh, that away. All right. Well, that's enough of my complaints. How about we talk about the first recruitment mission that we're doing this week? The Convict.
So yeah, I did the Warlord first,
Mm.
but that was because I think I have different goals.
No, I think I got the same thing. The Warlord's first in the order in the game, but who cares? Let's just
Right.
talk about it.
Yeah. Wait, we're gonna talk about the warlord or the convict?
The Convict. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
the convict.
the
Okay.
Convict.
So we're given a dossier by the elusive man. It says there's very powerful biotic on this like prison outpost space station.
Mhm.
And so you go there to get this person, and you're kind of led to believe that like it's gonna be kind of like a prison transfer
Mhm.
kind of thing, but
Mhm.
things go a little bit sideways. Why do they go sideways?
Well, I figure like the first bad sign is that it's run by the Blue Suns, who we just murdered a lot of.
yeah,
That is a gang.
Mhm.
This game's a little bit different from the first one in that like the main enemy combatants are members of these like paramilitary groups. So there's Blue Suns and Eclipse and what's the other one?
Yellow
Proud
Stars,
Boys.
No.
Green Moons.
No.
What was the blue one?
Blue Suns.
Right.
And then Eclipse. And what's the other one? There's one more. Blood Pack.
Yeah.
The Blood Pack. Which are
Blood-
like Vorcha and Krogan, right?
Yeah.
The Blood Pack.
But yeah, so this outpost is run by the Blue Suns, and when you get there, you meet the warden of the ship, who, I didn't look up this voice actor, but he does a great job.
Yeah, he was fun.
Yeah.
He
Mhm.
he turned sinister so fast.
Well, yeah. So like, you go to pick up this convict, and you like ask a lot of questions about the station. And it's pretty clear that this is a place where they just kind of dump criminals, and then the Blue Suns kind of abuse the hell out of them.
Yeah, it's a private prison, and the warden explains that planets pay to keep their prisoners on this spaceship or space station,
Mhm.
whichever you want to call it. It's very large. It has many different cells that are kind of moved around like cargo containers.
Yeah, they remind me of those pods you
And-
can buy for moving.
hmm And they have shock poles to shock people and
Mhm.
keep them in line. And the warden explains, yeah, we take them here, and the home planets pay for their storage, essentially. And then you're like, well, what if they won't pay? And then he goes, well, in that case, we explain that we can't keep them here, and we will return them to their home planet at a unspecified time in a unspecified place.
I do like, as you make your way through here, you can talk to a couple of the prisoners. One of them, you'll be like, what's it like here? And he's like, oh man, they're always beating us up, and I hate it here. It's miserable. And you're like, well, what'd you do? And he's like, barely anything. I murdered like 20 people, like destroyed a habitat, like pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
They weren't even real.
He also wants you to buy him, and he explains that prisoners are sometimes purchased
for people to get their own justice, or I guess just cheap labor. I don't know why you'd want a prisoner. And he wants you to buy him until you tell him that you're here for this convict whose name is Jack. And the guy's like, no, I'm not going with Jack. No, thank you. Mm-mm.
Jack, the most powerful person you'll ever meet, who's level 1. Yeah, I think we talked about it last episode. The difference in power between cutscene Jack and gameplay Jack is extreme.
Cutscene Jack destroys this entire space station almost
Yeah,
single-handedly.
it's crazy.
Gameplay Jack is like, I can do warp. We see a prisoner like beating a guard. If you're a good girl, you can talk to them and convince them to knock it off. John, I saw your stream of this. You just talked to this guy and you're like, well, whatever you did, you probably
That's what I did.
Unfortunately, this whole chunk I was streaming, but then I got a important work call, so I was like playing this with the sound off while on a phone call with work people, and that was fun.
Yeah, I did admire that you just kept going with it, though.
Yep.
That's a real streamer.
Did you stream the work call? Did everybody get to listen to you?
No, I turned off my mic.
We head over to out processing, and they're like, oh yeah, just this door at the end of the hall. We go down there. They also tell us that Jack is in cryostasis, and they're gonna thaw the convict out and give him to us. We open the door, and it's one of the cargo container cells.
Wait.
The warden's like, hey, surprise, you're worth a lot as a prisoner. Please go in the cargo container cell now.
But they were making the mistake of they went as far as starting to unthaw Jack.
I put that in the notes.
That's
Why?
A very interesting,
Why?
very interesting note there.
Why? It does not make any sense. If the warden's plan was to betray you and not hand Jack over, why go through the bother of unthawing Jack? We never see Jack being unthawed.
We don't know what Jack
room.
looks like. It could have literally been anyone.
Yeah, they could have shown us anyone and been like, here's Jack. But they tell us to go in this room. We, of course, say no thank you. They had tried to take our weapons. We said no thank you to that. And so then we are going to shoot our way out. And then we get a little cut scene where they are unthawing Jack for some unknown reason. They didn't communicate their betrayal plan properly. The only thing I could think of is maybe they didn't know it was Shepard who was coming to get Jack, and when they found out, they're like, "Oh, quick, let's do a quick betrayal."
Or it could have been just a lack of communication. They didn't get the memo, literally, that it was a betrayal. So they're like, "Oh, okay, so here's Jack. We're going to get Jack out." They keep talking about getting Jack, so I'll just go ahead. Someone was being working on their own, trying to impress the boss, being like, "Oh, here's Jack."
So we get this cutscene, a dramatic rush of steam and cryo air and things like that, and then we get a reveal of Jack. Jack is a lady.
What?
Jack's outfit is
outfit.
It's like she's wearing a belt as a top.
It's sort of a tattooed Lilu from the Fifth Element.
Yeah, she does have a real Lilu vibe, and with her a shaved head as well.
Yeah, she has a shaved head. Her lipstick game is on point. She has a glossy red lipstick that always looks flawless. She doesn't have a shirt, as we mentioned. She has a belt or two belts that she has arranged to cover her nipples in a way that would not work in real life. Just FYI.
Well, I figure both
it's not going to stay in place.
are via her biotic powers, her lipstick and her belt. She's always using her mental powers to keep that in place.
That makes sense.
Interesting.
That makes sense. Yeah.
She's a real tough guy character.
That's why she's different in the cutscenes and in the game.
Yeah, she's focusing too hard on keeping her belt on to
So,
play.
do you like her design, Vanessa?
This is difficult because I like Jack very much. I like her face very much. I like her tattoos. I don't like that she doesn't have a shirt, but I am just going to pretend that it's in service of showing her cool tattoos and not because game designers are pervy. Her pants also do not fit. Like they barely. She's got real. What's his name? Sydney? No. Who was the guy?
Ashley?
The guy with the Ashley? No, it is Sydney.
Okay.
Who had the real lowrider pants.
Yes.
She's got a pair of Sydney pants. Do I like Jack's design? No. Kind of? I don't know.
I think there's some elements to it that I like. Like, I like the androgyn, like, she, kind of agender-ness to her presentation. I like that she's got, she's not voluptuous in the same way that Miranda is. Like, she's
That's
got
true.
a very muscular but slim frame. And they don't... See, sometimes the game sexualizes her and sometimes it doesn't. It's very weird because Miranda's always sexualized by the camera. And Jack sometimes is just sort of shown as badass in a kind of horny badass, I guess. But I don't know. It doesn't feel as leering in a weird, even though she's almost naked.
In a weird way, I would almost prefer it if she just didn't have a shirt at all.
Right.
And was just like, this is what's up with me.
Mm-hmm.
And had some like tattoos or whatever around her nipple area.
Mm-hmm.
But putting the belts just makes it seem sexual in a way that I don't think really matches the character.
It's
Right.
a little like the belt thing kind of makes her feel a little bit over designed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as a character, Jack is one of my favorite companions. I really like Jack.
I don't think I used
But
Jack
we
the
haven't-
first time I played this game, and I am using Jack this time. And she seems good.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Do some good fights.
I liked this whole level too. I thought it was really neat. This is one of the few like bosses in the game where there's like a gimmick. Like when you finally get to the warden to help Jack, because Jack does escape and like kind of makes her way through the station, but you have to catch her.
Mm-hmm.
When you finally get to the warden, he's got these shield generators that are generating this like force field around him, so you have to destroy the shield generator. It's a very simplistic mechanic, but it's a mechanic nonetheless that you don't really get with like a lot of other enemies in the game.
And it's also the first time you fight against heavy mechs, except for the one that you could have fought.
The very first mission has you fighting heavy mechs.
Wait, does it?
Yeah,
Oh,
when you
right
when
at the
you,
end. Yes, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, there is a heavy mech fight. But yeah,
There's
it is.
3
I
heavy
liked
mech
this
fights.
whole level. Like it's challenging. There's a lot of enemies here.
Mhm. And waves, not my
And
favorite
waves,
thing.
yeah. I know John doesn't like the waves, but I did like this whole level.
I did find it a lot easier. I've been putting all my points into the combat. I'm a engineer, so I get the combat drone. And if you like start beefing up the combat drone, it becomes really deadly, and that's pretty fun because you just like send this little guy out.
Yeah, that's how I played Mass Effect 3. Is I beefed up Tally's combat drone, and man, that thing is like shoots rockets when you like get it fully upgraded.
Where do I get better shotguns is a question I need to Google when I'm playing the game.
I did get in the convict area on Purgatory. I did find a shotgun improvement thing.
Get that DLC, man. Get that gas plasma shotgun.
Yeah.
That's
I
a good
mean,
idea, actually. I should look at that
Nightmare.
because
Yeah.
honestly, I need to do something because I'm playing the Vanguard and I have to admit it's tough and I can recognize like you got to really focus on what you're doing and you can like stop time with that thing, but it's kind of a hassle. I don't know. I just need a better gun. It's like you're
Yeah,
zapping
with
in the
that-
middle
with
of a
that
group of
firepower
guys and
pack-
start throwing fucking pebbles in their face. Like I'm like, what am I missing here? My melee's
what's
not
great
particularly
about
strong,
that-
so it's definitely not that.
Yeah, melee sucks. It's like when you get that DLC pack, you get that great shotgun, you get a great heavy rifle, and a great heavy pistol. So like, no matter what play style you get a great gun. It's definitely worth it.
I'm really thinking about trading in it automatically assigns me to do a submachine gun since I'm an engineer,
Mhm.
but I kind of want to just get a shotgun. And you can. I don't think the game punishes you for it.
You know, I feel like I'm repeating a lot of stuff that I said last time, to be honest with you. But I do find that I get into situations where it's like you can't shockwave them or whatever it's called. You can't teleport to them, and you don't. I don't have an assault rifle. I don't have a sniper rifle, so I have to use like a pistol to try and snipe people sometimes. And it like takes forever. It's a real fucking pain in the ass. And I use some like powers on them and stuff. And that helps. But it really, like, the game comes to a stopping point as I, like, take pot shots over a barricade at some guys with my pistol.
There is an opportunity later in the game to add another weapon.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get another, like,
Oh, see,
slot,
I'm playing
right?
as a soldier, so you automatically get access to, I think, all of them up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sniper rifle, like, sniping is definitely my how I've played the game before. You know, so that's kind of my preferred playstyle for a lot of these games, and I do kind of miss
sniping in this
being
game is
able
pretty
to just
satisfying
snipe.
too. Well, in this game, like I like that it has a lot of variety in the sniper rifles. There's the ones that are like, you know, like bolt action single shot. There are also some like semi-automatic sniper rifles, which are pretty neat.
I was playing Mass Effect today, and then I switched over to play some PUBG, and I did play a couple of rounds in like a Mass Effect-y way where I was like running at enemies and like rushing from cover to cover and stuff. And it worked for me for a minute, but then PUBG reminded me that in PUBG there's always somebody, like it doesn't matter what you're hiding behind because there's always somebody on the other side, you know, a mile away that will be more than happy to snipe you while you're trying to hide.
Jackia, oh Jackia, say have you met Jackia? Oh Jackia, the tattooed lady. She has eyes that folks adore so, and a torso even more so.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
People adore her torso even more than her eyes.
Mhm. Lydia, oh Lydia, that encyclopedia. Oh, I'm sorry, Jackia.
Classic
Oh,
rhyme.
I love this song so much.
Jackia, oh Jackia, Encyclopedia Britannica.
What is happening?
Okay, so we recruit Jack. Well, at first she doesn't want to come because we have a Cerberus logo on our ship.
Mhm.
And she's like, Cerberus, I hate those guys.
Everybody says that, and you
you're
have to
like,
make the same
"No."
excuse every time. I don't work for
Yeah.
them, I'm just working with them. And they're all like, working with Nazis and working for Nazis is a distinction without a difference, sir. Which is a fair point.
I can't help but notice that Pepe the Frog logo on your ship, and you're like, "Oh no, it's to do with the original creator, who's a very cool dude."
Yeah, who was like against it, and I
Yeah.
just thought it was a cool frog. I'm not American. I didn't know what it's supposed to mean.
Do you have an original PogChamp on the side of your ship?
Yeah, people are real against. And so, what was the angle? There was an angle. Oh yes, because this. So Purgatory is about to explode because I guess because of the damage that Jack did.
Oh, was
Yeah,
that it?
Jack
I thought that was
up.
fucking crazy. It was just like the ships. All of these people are about to die.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, and they're and so Jack's like, why should I come with you? And you're like, well,
Yeah.
The deal she makes, she's like, I'll go because I don't want to die here, but I want access to every file you have
Oh, yeah.
access to.
I was like, oh, yeah,
And you
sure.
can-
You can do
About
whatever you
war,
want.
specifically.
I don't give a
Yeah,
shit
you
about.
can disagree, you can let it happen, or you can bluff and say you're going to let it happen, but don't.
so what happens if you bluff?
I don't know. I've seen it when I've played, but I've never been ballsy enough to.
I
take
guess
that
I should have
option.
done that because I'm playing evil. I
Yeah,
forgot.
I guess so too. I kind of felt like the more evil choice was to just be like, yes, you absolutely may have full access to
Yeah.
everything that they have.
But then I got Paragon points for
That's
it.
the
It's like,
problem,
come
is that
on.
I'm playing
that's what
evil, but I
did.
don't
mean,
wanna-
that's a good guy thing.
I'm-
You're like, yeah, they abuse you your entire life. You can learn whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I guess that's how you guys feel too, is playing bad. So
Yeah, I get renegade points sometimes just for like choosing not even renegade dialogue options, but just going through the conversation trees. It's like certain topics will just
Yeah,
give you
that
renegade
happened to-
points for bringing it up.
that happened to John on his stream yesterday, and John's reaction to it made me laugh. It's when they're talking about the Huss on Horizon, and John just went through the conversation, and he got Paragon points, and he's like, I guess I was a good guy.
Yeah, that happens to me
Like, I
too.
don't understand what I
though.
did.
That same thing happens to me. This game, it's the Mass Effect 1 had the same problem. The Paragon and Renegade system sucks.
But at least it's not pulling you away. There's two separate scores. So even if you get some Paragon points, it doesn't make you less of a renegade.
Also,
Yeah.
you gotta do those Renegade cutscene actions. You have to.
Oh yeah.
It's the
Yeah,
best.
they're fun. Yeah, they're great.
My Shepard is a crazy fucking like trigger happy maniac, basically.
Yeah.
It's not good.
So let's talk about Jack's tattoos, because on her back is the Battle of Waterloo, and beside it is the wreck of the Hesperus too. And proudly
That's Lydia.
above the waves, the red, white, and blue, you can learn a lot from Jack.
I don't understand what they're doing. Jim, what's going
It's
on?
a bit. It's a
I
bit.
don't
It's
get
a
it either.
bit. You got to study your classic comedy. We tell you every episode. Just go through.
We've
go
been
through
watching
A to Z.
Vanessa.
Bleep that out.
Bleep that out.
Oh, I forgot. I remembered how I leveled up. I did have a pre-planned level up that I forgot about. I bought some comfy slippers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I got
Oh,
my
man,
pizza
I'm
slice
wearing some comfy
slippers.
boys right now, man.
Slippers.
Look at, I'm wearing some comfy slippers
Yeah.
right now.
So Jack goes on your ship. I think we all did this. So you give all the files to her. You order Miranda to give the files to her. Miranda's real not
That's
happy
the
about
problem.
that.
And because
do
fuck
not like each
Miranda.
other.
How is the evil points all attributed to me like being nice to the characters that I hate in this game?
Because they're evil. Yeah, Jack does not like Miranda. Jack's like, look at this cheerleader.
Mhm.
Fuck her.
Yeah, they have,
Which I think, like, don't go for the insult about her appearance. I mean, come on.
Mhm.
They have a confrontation later that I think you can. It depends on how like Paragon or Renegade you are and how it nets out, but it's very contentious. I don't feel like I did it right. It's a kind of one spot in Mass Effect 2 where I was like, could I have done that better? Is that whole confrontation?
Yeah, I'm locked out of a certain character because of that, and I'm hoping to amass enough Paragon points to get back in her good graces.
Ooh.
Did you just yell kiss, kiss, kiss at them when they were fighting?
Of course not. They're not men.
Wait, who was fighting?
It's not Kaiden Alenko kissing another Kaiden Alenko.
It's not
Oh my god.
Steve and what were well, that's a Mass Effect 3 thing. We'll talk about that.
What if
Hopefully
Kaiden and
Mass
the guy
Effect
from
3.
KOTOR kissed? What was his name that
Ooh.
Vanessa was
Oh
in
my
love with?
God. It would be amazing. I need to go write that fanfic right now. Carth, oh nasty.
Carth.
So
Oh,
on
nasty.
Jack's
That's right.
tattoos, she can give you a view of the world in tattoo. If you step up and tell her where, for a dime, you can
Carth
see
and Kaiden.
Kankakee or Paris or Washington crossing the Delaware.
What? What the fuck? Vanessa has begun writing fanfic about Carth, and I'm sure Kaiden. Yep.
There's an I in
In
Kaiden.
the middle of our notes.
Isn't there? Or is it a Y or an I in Kaiden?
I loved a spectacular space lady once, said Carth. Me too, said Kaiden. He went bad on Horizon.
Let's let her write it out, and then we
Yeah.
can do a dramatic reading of it.
I know how that feels, says Carth. Want to know how this feels? Said Kaiden erotically.
Erotically. That's great. Thank you, John.
No problem.
right, moving on.
Kiss my space lips.
Oh, is there going to be a Elcor in here?
Tentatively excited.
Wow, I'm getting into this now that there's an Elcor involved.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, here it comes. Yeah, so she's agreed to come on the ship if in exchange for looking at the files, but then she's just in your because I chose her on the next mission and there's no like dialogue saying, okay, I guess I'm gonna go on space adventures with you now. But she goes on space adventure. I guess I should have come because I didn't do the one-on-one check-in with her before the mission, and maybe that would have set up that she's gonna come on
Oh, really?
space adventures.
Yeah, I went and talked to her a little bit, and then after that, she appeared for me.
She did with me too. She was in my party in the next mission.
Oh.
But it just seems weird.
Everybody seems to have like a level up thingy that you can do for him if you go and talk to him too, which seems to be handy.
That's
Like right after I got Jack, I was able to give her like a biotic powers plus 20% damage.
Yeah, they can. Each character has upgrades that you can do for them. They get another ability once you level up certain ones that are in their lists, and then they can also offer upgrades for the ship.
It's called a loyalty mission. You go on a special mission for them, and they get a new power.
You should also talk to all of them about. I like how the game puts it in all caps too. Upgrades, because like it's stuff that it'll be like a new shield system for the ship, or like some better guns or something.
And these are super important for the end game.
Like spoiler, you want to do all these.
Yes. Like Garrus gives you a new gun for the ship, and some people get like better plating. And
if you do nothing else, the ship upgrades at the bare minimum.
I'll probably do them. I really just I keep thinking that I'm going to get to the end of fucking Dragon Quest 11, and this game has continued. It keeps going.
Isn't that game like 100 and something hours long?
I am deep into the fucking end game of this thing.
So the next mission is the Warlord. I'm so excited. Dr. Okurrrrrrrr.
John loves warlords.
Dr. Okurrrrrrr. So we set out to recruit Dr. Okurrrrrrr. I can't do it. I can't do the Okurrrrrr. Jim, can you do it?
What are you trying to do?
It's like drag ball lingo for saying okay, but it's like, see, I feel uncomfortable even trying
like
to.
Cardi B.
Drag ball?
Yeah, drag ball. Like New York drag scene drag ball. You know, like how.
Doesn't Cardi B do it though?
Like,
and she like rolls it. She's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like like Yas Queen and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff. It dates back to the 70s and 80s New York drag ball scene.
Dragon Ball Z?
Yes, the New York 70s and 80s New York Dragon Ball Z.
Everything goes back to drag. I watched that Bee Gees documentary. Spoiler alert. They were like, yeah, disco started in the like drag gay scene.
Yep.
Deal with it.
Yep.
Straighties.
That's
Put that
why
in your cis
all
pipe and smoke it.
I hate disco stuff from the 80s was just homophobia.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't talk about the AIDS crisis and how that might have contributed to the backlash against disco, but they didn't. Moving on.
So we're setting out. There's this doctor. He's a Krogan warlord. He's on the planet Corliss in the Eagle Nebula. And he is he's like powerful and has a good knowledge of Krogan stuff, and he's doing
like
genetic
genetics.
Engineering. Yeah, he's got some like, let's say that him and Morden, him and Morden would have a lot to talk about. Because I don't know if have you got into Morden's like, oh yes, I accidentally did a genocide.
Well, he improved the genophage.
It's not spoilers.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the first things he's like, "Oh, hi, my name is Morden Solus. I was in this team, and we did a genocide against the Krogan."
They didn't do a genocide. What they did was the genophage already existed, and then it started to like wear off. Yeah, improved it, made it better. That's all they did. It's not like they built the bow and arrow that they used to kill the dodos. They just improved on it.
Exactly.
There we go.
But he's still involved in the death of most dodos and making dodos like, was it sterile or not? Oh, it's something even worse. It's like that they're
not sterile. It's that like 1 in every 1,000 pregnancy is viable.
Yeah, so
Right.
Can we just go ahead and say this on the show? We're all anti-genophage, right?
in real life, yes.
How do you feel about the
Of course.
genophage in the game? Because it's a very thorny issue.
It is a thorny issue.
It is a
I think
game.
we should-
How about instead of talking about, why don't you tell us what it is?
So the Solarians designed the genophage like Vanessa said.
Go back further than that. Who are the Solarians?
So the
Go back
Solarians is
further
like.
than that.
Yeah, okay.
Go back all the way to the Rachni Wars.
Okay.
Jim doesn't know.
Vanessa,
I'm going to do it.
There's a
Okay.
locker here
Wow.
behind you.
I guess I don't
Yeah.
know.
So just be
There
careful.
were these Rachnis, right? And the Rachnis were like at war.
What's a
with this-
Rachni?
A Rachni, remember from game 1, we met the Rachni Queen. It's like a sort of giant space bug.
Yeah, they're big old space bugs.
Mm,
The biggest space bug.
gotcha.
So-
An Ender's Game
Yeah.
alien.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the Solarians were fighting the Rachni, and they were like, this sucks. We're really bad at fighting. But we know this planet where there are these primitive species called the Krogans. And the Krogans had sort of just reached nuclear technology, but they're very warlike, so they had used it to like blow up their planet a whole bunch. They were just hanging out on their rock, being like, what do we do now? I guess we'll rebuild our society. And the Solarians came down and they're like, what's up? We're from outer space. We're going to put you on our spaceship and take you to fight this Rachni. And then you're going to get like all this cool space stuff and be able to go into space. And the Krogan were like, sweet. They did it. They fought the Rachni. And then they started like living in space. They
Just
were
gonna
living
open
on
this locker door a little bit.
nice, beautiful planets with like plush greenery and that hadn't been like nucleared up. And so they just started breeding like crazy. It turns out Krogans, they can have a lot of children naturally, but usually their planet environment is so harsh and violent that like a whole bunch of them get killed off. So it didn't matter, but population started booming because they were living the plush life. And so these Solarians were like, oh my God, what do we do? I know. We'll give them a genetic condition so that only like every 1 in 1,000 or 10,000 of their babies survives. All we're doing is balancing out their natural survival rate to account for their new plush lifestyle.
Yeah, they
that was their
kind of
justification.
they kind of liken them to like, oh, this has the potential to be an invasive species to the point where it threatens like the balance of the whole
Exactly.
galaxy.
And they're like, these people are really violent. We ran a whole bunch of scenarios. It all shows that they will just like wipe us out if we allow them to breed without
Unchecked.
restriction.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we're just gonna do a little like spay and neutering of our pets.
They aren't pets though; they're people.
Are they, John?
Yes, they're people with like one thing I really liked in Mass Effect Andromeda is that you meet a Krogan and they're like, "Oh, what kind of warrior are you?" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "A biologist." We're not all warriors, dum dum.
Well, the question boils down to, do you think the Krogan are too dangerous to let multiply unchecked or not?
This is creepy and bad. I don't like this, and I don't like being put in that position.
Well,
Do
the
you
game puts the
believe
player
in
in
the
that
Prime
position.
Directive, or don't you?
I believe that the I'm worried about the implications of this being how the game writers view humanity or parts of humanity.
Let's
So-
pretend that doesn't exist.
Okay.
These are just aliens.
It's
uh,
just a video game.
I believe that the Krogan are sentient people who know how to take care of themselves as well and should have the right to self-determination.
What would you say if they had just dropped all the Krogan off back on their home planet and yeeted on out of there, been like, bye, after taking them into space?
I don't know. I still think that's a bad idea. Because they now have the like there are Krogan scientists. They now have access to technology. Well, I guess I don't know. It's as bad as any of the other ideas. That's what I'll say. Because they're not going to make the Krogans not know how to make spaceships because there's Krogan scientists who are working out in space and now know how to make spaceships.
Let's see. Well, personally, I am anti-genophage.
Same here.
Good. Me too.
Matt,
How do you deal with this thorny ethical problem, Matt?
Can you go back to the Rachni Wars?
oh Vanessa, I just want you to like put your head in this locker for a second. I just want to
okay.
have a look inside. And closed.
We locked her in there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Can we talk about fucking Doctor Okurrrrrrr here? Because we're really dragging ass on this
Doctor Okurrrrrrr.
one. Yeah, that.
So you get to this planet Corliss, and there's okay. I'll let you out. I'm letting you
I was
out.
just listening to the dialogue. That's all. I just remembered. It's not my fault.
There's a lady's voice on the loudspeaker. And so it seems like there's a weird combat going on between these blue suns who are also shooting at us and the
WDW Junior.
there's these Krogans, like these genetically modified Krogan super soldiers running around who are also shooting at us. And you do find Blue Sun, who says that the voice is Jador, who is their leader here, like the Blue Sun's leader. And Jador was working with Doctor Okurrrrrrr and
Jador for her.
Jador. Dr. Okurrrrrrr is making cloned Krogans in Jador's laboratory. So you say here the clones are mindless, but you meet one and he's not mindless. He's just like,
yeah, they're not mindless.
You talk to him. He's just like a week old and very confused because he's like, they say I'm not perfect and like they're going to make a perfect one, but I'm imperfect. So I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. They just told me to stand here and kill people, but this is pretty weird.
Yeah, you're right. It was wrong of me to call them mindless. They're just not perfect. But if someone's not perfect, that doesn't mean they don't have a brain. It just means they don't know how to use it properly.
It's also, I didn't understand the dynamic here totally, but it's implied that they're like imprinted on while they're being grown, which like they get conditioned, like mentally conditioned a certain way. But it's also made explicit that like the Krogan have like very powerful genetic urges, like the urge to like be a warrior and the urge to kill, and that's also.
But I think that's been supplemented by like the voices and stuff as their lab grown.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I think they're being grown to be very
like even more violent.
Yeah, and they're also aged up like 20 years, or I think longer.
Yeah,
back,
they're like
hundreds.
They're aged to maturity.
Krogans live almost as long as Asari, like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're aged to maturity in a week, and then grown to be unthinking soldiers. But it's not working because they're still kind of thinking. So and he's also trying to find a solution to the genophage. We shoot our way through the lab, and then finally meet Dr. Okurrrrrr. And yeah, he's trying. Why he's working with Jador is he's using these clones to also breed out the genophage and breed resistance to it in a short period of time, since they're going through a generation in a week.
Yeah, and Jador's getting like Krogans for her little Blue Sun gang.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah. And he keeps like looking meaningfully over to this one Krogan who's in a vat, being like, "But I've got my perfect example. You need to go take care of Jador because she's going to flesh out the whole project now."
Yeah, Jador's just like over it. She's like, "I'm tired of you saying these Krogans aren't perfect. I'm going to just gas your lab. Fuck you.
I'm done with these ding-dang experiments. I'm going to gas everything." And yeah, she does try to kill everybody. And I think she's killing all the Krogans in the vats except for one who he like unplugs from the gas. So he asks you to go take care of Jador, and then you kill Jador in a mech in a fun fight. I like this fight a lot, actually. She was fun. And then you go back and Dr. Okurrrrrrr is dead. And he left a recording saying, "Hey, take my good boy. I made him. Take this vat back to your ship. He is genetically perfect, but not cured of the genophage. And so you take the tank back to the ship for funsies, and then you get a chance to wake up this clone or not."
Yeah, you can spend the whole game with this clone just in a tank, unawake, asleep, unborn, tanked.
Yeah, I actually did this before I did the convict, and I did not wake him up first. I was like, "Where is he?" Whatever.
Oh, I woke him up immediately because, frankly, that is one lizard frog with kissable lips.
I think
goodness.
Grunt is a boring character. I'm sorry.
What? I love Grunt.
Just not a lot of personality to that character.
Yeah, I think all Krogans are kind of boring. They're just Klingons.
Yeah, they're just Klingons. They really set him up as this, like, shining example of, like, this awesome, fucking, totally cool Krogan. And then you get him and he's like, what's
He's kind of
up?
like Rex without the swagger, and that's what Rex that's what makes Rex a kind of memorable character. Is that he's kind of an asshole, and this one just doesn't have anything to replace that with.
Yeah, he has more of the like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, he doesn't have the ratitude. He needs a ratitude.
Baby.
He does explain to you that the doctor's imprint did not work.
Right. Although he names
I don't know
him,
what that means, really.
he says there's one thing that he needs if he's going to work for you, and that is a name. And then the thing that he remembers first is that he was called that the in the recording the doctor did call him a grunt. This grunt, and he's like, "Oh, I like that name." And you're like, "Yeah, it works on 2 levels."
Wait, so he's not cured of the genophage? So does that mean that he's going to get the genophage?
He is like a
Yeah,
genetically
has it.
perfect Krogan, but is still the genophage technically affects the females. So isn't that right? Isn't that how it works?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think it affects both.
Oh, okay.
Because like
It affects the
they
men as
only do
well.
experiment. Oh no, they do. They experiment on males and females, I guess.
Yeah.
Dr. Okurrrrrrr gives a whole speech about how he didn't want to cure the genophage because he thinks that it produces bad. Like, it was a weird speech because he's like, the genophage purifies our people, but he also was like, but we coddle them too much and they're fucking babies and I hate them all.
They all get participation trophies.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, the genophage made every Krogan baby too precious and special. So fuck that. But also, I'm going to keep the genophage because it's like survival of the fittest. That's rad.
But he says that it doesn't work. It doesn't make stronger Krogans. It just makes the only Krogans that live are the ones that are resistant to genophage. It doesn't mean that they're stronger.
Yeah,
That's
so
the
what
only
he's
selection.
done is he has made a stronger Krogan, and his dream is that this Krogan will sleep with all the ladies and make a whole bunch of babies.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's not going to sleep with Bim Jenks because Bim Jenks has one alien on his mind, and we have not met her yet.
Well, I will say that Grunt is like personality-wise, he's boring, but I think getting to visit Tuchanka is a real highlight of this game.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fun. I like Grunt. I think there's something. He reminds me a bit of Data, and I always like Data. In the like, I don't know, he's very curious about the world,
Explain
and he's a little
this human thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's a little more inquisitive than Rex. Rex like is world weary.
Yeah.
They should have really leaned into that and legitimately had him following you around being like, what is doorknob?
Yeah, exactly.
What is this green stuff I stand on outside?
No, but if they made him a bit more puppy like
What is love?
Yeah, exactly. What are those people in Garrus's video doing?
You do
You're like,
get that a
"Oh,
little bit with his
Garrus."
loyalty mission. That is kind of
Okay.
like what his loyalty mission is.
So yeah, I like that part. They could have fleshed it out a bit more. You're right. They don't give Grunt a lot of time.
Yeah, not as much as like it does for the human characters, weirdly.
Yeah. Or even Morden. Morden, I think, gets a lot of development. And I've been talking to
he
him
just gets
plenty.
some bits. Like he just has some bits.
I love bits.
We'll talk about Morden's bits later.
Yeah.
So finally, there's Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon.
That's Freedom's Horizon. Is that what it's called?
It's called Horizon, right?
Freedom's Horizon, yeah. That
Freedom's
sounds right.
Progress was the.
Oh, that was the other one.
Freedom's
Okay,
Progress
so
was
this-
the other one. Yeah, this is just
Yeah.
Horizon.
Freedom's Progress Horizon. That's right,
Yeah.
Jim. Thank you.
So
Zero Dawn.
So once you,
Zero
so
Dawn.
after you do these,
Colon, the Great
after
Winter.
you
or
do
whatever the
these
sequel's
recruitment
gonna be.
missions, the elusive man says
Horizon
that
colon Zero
they
Dawn.
got notice of an
Colon.
advanced attack on another colony. This is the first chance we have to either like get there as the collectors are getting there or right after. We can prevent an attack. Shepard, don't you want to prevent an attack? We have
I
all
like
this
this.
intel. You need to get
this
there
intel. Don't
right
ask
now.
me about how
Yeah.
I got this intel.
It doesn't matter how I got it. That you're focusing on the wrong thing, Shepard.
Yeah,
Get to
it's
Horizon
like how
and see what you can do about these gosh dang collectors.
now.
Also, Ashley's there. He does tell you up front, for me anyway. He's like, also, Ashley Williams is there.
He
Yeah.
says that about Kaiden on mine too.
It reminds me a lot of how Mr. Glass happened to be on scene for all those disasters
Yeah.
in Unbreakable.
He was like spectating all of them from like 50 yards away.
What a coincidence! Another disaster for Mr. Glass.
Yep. So yeah,
And Mr. Glass's plan was stupid.
Yeah.
yes, that is definitely true. Although I love that character.
Do you think Mr. Glass was like tripping people in the grocery store to see if they get injured if they fell down?
Maybe he'll
Trying to
be a
hit as many
superhero.
people as possible.
That's how he started.
Yeah, he worked up from there.
Doing the disasters can be efficient, but what do you do in your off time? You just like try to gently push people down stairways, or
He
like
can't. He's made of glass.
Yeah, but
Made of
they're
glass.
he tries to use his intellect on them. Wouldn't it be smart of you to fall down these stairs?
He's the greatest genius of all time.
not. He just like drips some oil up the flight of stairs near
Yeah.
his apartment.
Or like
Are
tells
you a
someone,
superhero?
he tells someone his whole theory where he's like, I think there's a person out there that's unbreakable and they can survive anything. I think that's you. Will you throw yourself off this skyscraper?
I think he's like breaking into doctors' offices and be like, "Do you have any patients who have never been sick?"
At Horizon, you get there, and well, actually, even before you get there, you get a little cutscene of Ashley or Kaiden. And they're having fun with their friends, having a good time on Good Time Island in Horizon. And they look up in the sky and they're like, "Oh, how's it going, friends? Oh, Lilith or Lily or what was her name? Yeah, Lillian?
Something like that.
Yeah, she's there. And oh, yeah, all our friends are having fun. We're having a great time. Uh-oh, what's that up there in the sky?" And they look up in the sky and there's a ship coming. And then Ashley/Kaiden's like, "Get everyone inside. Get them to the safe room." And there start being bugs attacks. And the bugs like have this paralytic effect on people.
Like
And,
puts them into stasis. They're stasis
yeah.
bugs.
Yeah, but they're still aware. Like they fall down and they're all paralyzed, but their eyes are still shifting around.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like that you know, that really funny ending to that, what was that comedy we watched? Midsummer. Remember with the guy in the
comedy?
bear suit?
John.
And his
Yeah,
eyes,
that was hilarious.
Excuse me.
and his eyes were looking around, but he couldn't move in the bear
I mean,
suit
they
at the
do
end.
say that comedies have happy endings, and that movie had a happy ending.
You know
so
what? It
yeah,
did.
it's comedy.
It did.
Yep,
Everyone
exactly.
was smiling and laughing.
It ended with a wedding. So yeah, so they all.
Oh, I thought of another level up. So I watched an episode of Perfect Strangers.
Oh, what'd you think?
Very old.
Yes, and it's even like even at the time, it's going back to like classic, more like 50s comedy.
The guy, the not the American. How do I refer? The not crazy Perfect Stranger.
The not
definitely-
guy from
One
Meepos,
that's
the
not-
one from
Definitely has like a real delivery to like his stuff.
Yeah,
that
there's
is
Brunson Pinchot, and there's the other one.
Mark Lynn Baker.
The
It's
famous
not
one,
weird
Mark
to have a
Lynn
crush on Bronson Pinchot.
No,
nobody said it was.
Remember
Okay,
when
good.
Bronson Pinchot played that caricature in Beverly Hills Cop of a gay person?
That's what got him the role on Perfect Strangers.
Is it really? Oh my god!
it?
Yeah.
I thought it went the other way around.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was Beverly Hills Cop, then Perfect Strangers.
I
Wow.
don't think so, man. Perfect Strangers has got to be from like the 60s, right?
No, that's from like 85 or 86, I think.
Remember when he was in The Langoliers?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's the best Bronson Pinchot performance.
My friend recommended a book on an audiobook with Bronson Pinchot doing the voices. He says he does an amazing job.
I have the Langoliers
Sorry.
on DVD.
What?
I do.
I just think that like Mark Lynn Baker and Bronson Pinchot do really good physical comedy. And I really like all the okay, so there's a joke in the pilot of Perfect Strangers where cousin Larry turns on the TV and it's a color TV and Balky's like, a color TV, and Larry's like, oh, you don't have color TV on Meepos? And he's like, he just sort of looks around for a second, he's like, of course we do. And then he's like silently mouthing his awe but trying to hide it from Larry. It's just a really good physical bit. I just really like it.
Vanessa, what are we doing?
She's writing fan fiction about Perfect Strangers. I refuse. But Balky, we're cousins. Cousin Larry, such love is legal in my country. But we aren't on Meepos. So let's talk about Horizon Zero Dawn.
Rhyme Meepos with Peepos.
Here we go.
Why is there an Elcor watching Larry and Balky having sex? Excitedly.
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
He's gonna get it good.
See, listeners, this is why you like our show.
You know, we don't usually do a lot of extended bits on the show. We did an extended bit about Mr. Glass,
we
and
do.
now we're doing an extended bit about Perfect Stranger.
What are you talking about? Our show is only extended bits.
Is it?
Yeah. The episodes run long because we talk about the games
I guess
too
that's
much.
true.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Okay, so you get to her. So after you get that cutscene of everyone getting paralyzed by the collector bugs, you get a very, very quick cutscene of Morden holding up a collector bug and being like, "Ah, I get it." And he's apparently able to counteract the paralytic effects of the collector bugs.
Morden's so cool.
Then they, yeah,
He's
so
such a
they
cool
do drop
character.
down on the planet. I didn't have Morden in my party, but he like radios in. He's like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure this is going to work, but consider this a field test. We'll know by the end of this mission
He's the best.
whether this works." So I did have in my party here, I had Jack and Miranda because I figured they might have some good banter working
And
together.
did they?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Sad.
I had Morden and Miranda.
I had Garrus
took-
and Morden.
Ooh,
I took Grunt and Jack for this one.
ooh, that's a good combo too.
Mm-hmm.
So they do go to so you go down to the planet. You find that everyone's missing at first. There's just no one around and it's real quiet. Then you turn around a corner and there's weird bug-faced collector there, and they do start attacking you. At first it's and they try setting the bugs on you, but the bugs don't, they just leave you alone. So good job, Morden. And you slowly make your way through the compound until you come to and you fighting collectors as they attack you. And they start being these like they start sending husks after you, but you're like, these aren't like the husks back on Eden Prime. They're smarter,
Yeah.
more powerful.
Husks on Eden Prime,
Says
as a
there.
reminder, are from Mass Effect 1. They are people what get impaled by a special stick, and then they become a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. And Miranda's
He says that these are like evolved husks.
Yeah.
yeah, and Miranda's like, I don't think that they're taking them all to be husks. I think that most of them seem to have disappeared, and these husks are from someplace
Yeah,
else.
Miranda said that they brought the husks with them, and that they're taking they're like kidnapping everybody else.
Yeah, when you saw them in that cutscene when they land on the planet, they're like putting people into these like pods,
Yeah.
and then putting the pods back onto the
I
ship.
watched John play this on his stream yesterday, and this is when the male shepherd delivers the line, "No, they're different, more evolved." This is when I was like, that guy sucks. Like, he's a terrible voice actor.
No, they're different.
This is also the conversation that John, I think, tried to say something rude, but still got Paragon points for.
Yeah, I was getting real mad about that because I was just yelling at the engineer because there's this engineer hiding. I was like, "Well, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna let them in." I'm like, "Look, we have lots of guns. They're not attacking. Don't worry. You're totally safe." And he's like, oh, well, the guns aren't working because we never got them aiming right. And we're like, well, we can fix them. Look at us. We're Miranda and Jack. We know how to fix things.
Yeah, we learned that Kaiden was there setting up, or Ashley was there setting up some defensive turrets.
And she's really bad at it.
A real, like, what felt to me like a city folk are the worst kind of guy tells you how much he hates the fucking Alliance for coming in and doing this.
So we...
Yeah, he's a
Gosh
colony
dang
rights
Alliance.
kind of guy.
I
Yeah,
did
he
tell
is.
him to come with me, and he's like, no way, I'm going to get killed. And I'm like, well, you're a coward. He's like, a living coward.
I told him to stay. I was like, I don't want to deal with you. Fuck
I
off.
like
But then
that this
again, that
guy-
was like a Paragon thing to do, I guess.
love that this guy...
That's not the Paragon thing to do. I was like, stay here and fucking live or die. I don't care what
This
happens
guy
to
like
you.
saunters in at the end of all the drama at the end of this level, and he's like, "See, the Alliance is so bad. I'm done with
Yeah.
you guys." It's like, okay,
So you and he says you need to go to these control towers on the other side of the colony to reprogram the turrets. And I was like, oh, this was already a half hour. I'm like, is this gonna be another half hour? But by the other side of the colony, he means like in the next
yeah,
room.
Yeah.
So I did walk over, and yeah, there's a fun little fight here. Now you get these like husk. I guess they're like husk. What would you call them? Brood husks, where all the husks are like popping out of them.
Ooh, these
They're like-
guys, they're like big old tanks.
Yeah. And they have you don't want to get close to them because they got like some weird they shoot like a it's sort of like the Vanguard shoots. Yeah, Matt, do you have that Vanguard ability where you shoot like a power beam along the ground? Because that's like the long range attack
yeah.
for Vanguard.
Yeah. It doesn't work very well. They move. It's
I think
very
you
easy
have to
for
like
them to just
level it up for
sidestep
it to get useful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they have that Vanguard ability. So you want to like you have to sort of keep an eye on making sure you're not getting hit by that. And then there is these. So you get to the control tower, and you radio to Edie, and she's like, "Okay, well, you're gonna have to fight like 5 waves of enemies while a timer goes off until the attack on the we can attack the ship with the turrets that are already built into the colony." So you do. It's like a Destiny mission. So you fight waves of enemies while the timer goes, and the last thing you fight is I thought it was pretty cool. It's like a big bug mech.
Yeah, these what do they call harvesters? Something. It's something like that.
Oh,
This thing did do a squash on me several times.
yeah, he does. So it has like you can't get close to it because it has a physical beam.
Mm.
It reminds me a bit of of Rom, the vacuous spider from Bloodborne.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it shoots these homing globs at you. And we should also mention that the head of the collector, which is the I can't say this word, Harbinger. Also, it has this cool ability where he's like in a ship far away, but can like zoom into quantum leap into anyone around who's another one of the collectors around, take control of them, and make them super powerful. So he's like leaping from person to person, trying to right what once was wrong.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this guy. They needed to record some more lines for this guy.
Yeah, because he's like
He
Shepherd.
says like,
Yeah,
he's
he
like,
has some
I
stuff to
know
say."
this hurts you.
Yeah, he's like, you will know pain. But then he also says at one point, no sentient being need fear me.
Yeah.
What?
Assuming control.
Yeah.
So
He
yeah,
looks like when you see, I think it's him. Is the Harbinger that's assuming control the Independence Day looking alien
Yes.
yes,
that we see briefly?
yeah,
Why
and
are
that's
Independence Day aliens in this game?
and I think this is our first glimpse of the big bad of the game.
Mhm.
Is the Harbinger guy?
It's just a little monster with a triangle head, with a giant triangle for a head, and
lots of eyes.
Lots of eyes. Yeah.
lots of eyes and tentacles just poking out everywhere.
So you do wait. Eventually, Edie gets control of the turrets and blasts that ship. Gonna blast that ship right out of our planet, and the
It's on its way.
and it does blast off, and you save the colony. And so right after all the fighting's done, who walks out?
Mr. Kaiden Alenko.
Mr. Sex himself, Kaiden Alenko.
Ashley Williams. Ashley
Yeah,
Williams
it
walks
was
out.
Ashley
More
Williams
like
for me
Trashley
too.
Williams.
Oh, wow.
I hate her. She's terrible. She deserved to blow up, and she did in Mass Effect 1. Unless you made the baffling choice to save her over Kaiden.
Kaiden-
I did because I'd saved Kaiden last time.
Kaiden is not happy to see you, by the way.
Yeah, my
No.
Kaiden experience was probably a little bit different than yours, Jim.
Yeah, because I didn't romance Kaiden, but I still saved him.
So does he still stick his tongue down your throat?
No, he's like, he comes out and he's like, oh, I couldn't believe it until now. And you're like, what? Or you're like, hey, Kaiden. He's like, don't talk to me like we're friends. He like really goes off on you because he's like, why didn't you try to contact me? He's like, I grieved you for so long, and he doesn't like think you're. He's like, I can't believe you're with Cerberus. He really gives you a nice dressing down.
Yeah, that's
Does that mean-
essentially what he did with me. He did give me a nice hug, and he's like, oh my god, I thought you were dead. And then when he was dressing me down, he's like, I thought we had something special. I loved you. And I was like, excuse me, loved, past tense. You're going to do that right here on Horizon. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Why didn't you call me? And I was like, I was in a coma, bitch.
Yeah.
Get over it.
My dialogue was a little bit different. He's like, I would have followed you anywhere. When you died, it was like I lost a limb. He's very dramatic about it.
Well, you're his best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super pissy, and then he's like, look, I'm real glad you're alive, even though I did mourn you, and it sucked. And I'm like, well, sucks to suck. I was in a coma. And then he's like, but I'm not going to help you with Cerberus. Then he goes, I just, they're definitely using you, and I don't know how they tricked you, but I hope that you come to your senses. Okay, goodbye.
He's like, yeah, good to see you. Lose my number. Peace. That's it.
What does Ashley say,
I don't know.
John?
Ashley just kind of says the same thing. She's like, "Oh, you're with Cerberus now."
Yeah.
And I'm like pro-alien all of a sudden, even though I was super space racist last time.
Yeah, she
Anyways.
was.
Yeah.
Fuck you, space racist.
And so she's like, "I can't believe you would do this to me, even though we were just friends. This still
She's
sucks."
like one of those space racists who isn't going to join Cerberus, but also isn't going to invite a Turian to her knitting circle.
Wow. No, she will, but it's like a really showy thing. And she's like, we have to have at least one alien in our knitting circle just to prove things.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll always name drop her one Turian friend who says it's okay.
Yeah. I can say that because one of my best friends is a Turian.
Mhm.
So I can say shellhead.
Whoa, bleep that out. So you blast back off the horizon, and then you get like a little one-on-one, a little debrief with your boss, who is President Bartlett, the mirror universe Bartlett.
Mm-hmm.
And the illusionary man is like, hey, Shepard. So, the reason that I knew that this would happen was because I did kind of plant some information saying that you were working with Cerberus, and then figured that Ashley would come here to investigate, and then figured that might lure the collectors in. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, that was a good idea. Good thinking.
I was like, WTF? And he's like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to stop the collectors.
Even if that means putting up a colony as bait.
He put my Kaiden in danger, and I know we're fighting, but he's still my boo.
Mm-hmm.
For now.
Oh, no. So after that, you get Yeah, so he's like, okay, well, I've got a whole bunch of new dossiers for you. There's gonna be Samara. There's gonna be go check out what the Geth are doing, and there's one more.
It's an
Tali.
assassin.
The assassin.
The
That's
Geth
right.
one is actually that's like a story mission, right? That's not a recruitment mission.
Yeah, you don't want to do that until the very, very end. So if you're playing along, save that investigating of the IFC ship till end.
Yeah.
Done with everything before that.
There's like an IFF device that you have to get. Don't do that Cerberus story mission until you have everybody.
Yeah. So there's the assassin, the Justicar, and some other stuff.
And Tali herself, our old friend.
So I didn't get. Jacob was not letting me do any loyalty quests. I don't know what I did wrong.
Oh golly.
So I will do that next time. I think I had to have finished Horizon maybe before unlocking that.
So what do we want to do next time? Are we just doing all the loyalty missions?
Let's recruit the last of the characters.
I already wrote it in here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recruit the Justicar and the assassin and Tali.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I also put in Miranda's loyalty mission as well as Jacob's.
We should do all the loyalty missions in one episode.
All of them?
Well, maybe like the one after. We'll do one
yeah.
that's like all loyalty
Yeah, yeah.
missions.
Yeah.
Because then we could do Kasumi and Zaid and stuff
That's a good
too.
idea. Yeah, just do your recruiting then. And then, if you want to do some side quests, that's okay. You can find some.
Yeah.
Do 'em.
Mm-hmm. There's some fun side quests. I was trying to solve a one where this guy bumped into a lady and he dropped his credit chip and then assumed that a Quarian stole it because he's space racist. He's a Volus.
Yeah, he was like, that's my cell phone. Take the cover off that. I mean, that's my credit chip. And he stole it.
This guy's like very blatant about it too, because like not only did he lose his credit chip, he has no evidence that he didn't just drive. He didn't see that person take it. He just saw that race of alien around and was like, that person probably stole it if it's missing.
Oof. So
I'm glad things like that don't happen in real life.
So there was I talked to the lady who runs the store because he was at this like one store and she's like, oh, I didn't see anyone. It was like a gift store. I did buy some fish and I put the fish into the bowl and then I got some model ships and I got a space hamster. Which, if you talk to the space hamster, it does go squeak.
Yeah, I also did all of that. Matt talked last time about meeting Anderson. I went and talked to him. He did reinstate my Spectre status, which was nice.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, Vanessa, how do you... I couldn't figure out, where do you go to solve the missing chip? What happens there? Because
there's...
Yeah, he said Vanessa. Jim, why didn't you tell us about it?
Yeah, Jim.
There's a Solarian shop owner you can talk to, and one of the dialogue options just comes up and was like, hey, have you seen this credit chip? You can ask a couple of the vendors. And this guy's like, yeah, actually, I did. I have it here. Tell him he can come to me to get it. And then you go break up this like argument that they're having with the CSEC guy, the Volus, and the Quarian.
The Quarian.
And there's the CSEC officer ends up being super racist also. And then so like the CSEC officer is gonna let the Volus off, and they like really yell at this Quarian, and you can call them out for being racist.
Yeah, they're like, well, you didn't do it this time, but I'll be watching you.
Yeah.
And then you can just be like, excuse me.
And then
Shame on both of you.
You can like threaten the CSEC officer's job. It's pretty cool.
What's the deal with George's sultry lips? And then Kramer enters erotically, excitedly, says the watching Elaine core.
I was trying my hand at Seinfeld fanfiction.
All right. So I guess that's it.
Any
We
mini
did it.
games?
Yes, we should talk about Probe. Was it Probe launched? probe launched.
I did it for like an hour today. I did like an hour of just fucking mining because it's like weirdly soothing.
All of you have been talking all week about how much you love probing.
Someone did come on my stream and said, "Oh, so you like being probed?" And I was like, "No, I like probing."
What did they do to your stream? John.
I think I screen capped that comment and put it in the group chat because I was watching it at that time.
And the probing, launching probes is you get 30, at least I think you get more later. I have like 30 probes so far, and you can launch it out to get resources, and you use resources to beef up your ship and get bonuses and new abilities and better weapons in the research station. And I've been doing
I
a lot
hate
of that.
how do you have to go? Is there a place where all this shit is all together, like all the individual personal upgrades and all the tech upgrades?
No.
Why is it like this?
I think you have to. Well, I know. Well, maybe it is. Except for the ship. I think you always have to talk to Garrus for ship upgrades. I could be wrong.
Not
Oh, it's all.
true. In Morden's
So it's-
lab, there's a station you can go to that has all the upgrades.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just go to the research terminal in Morden's lab. But I think you do have to talk to everyone. You have to like check what upgrades they each, because I think each member of the group can have different upgrade ideas.
Yeah,
you
they
have
do.
to ask them for ideas. Here's something I remember, but did not research to confirm if it is a true memory. I seem to recall that when this game first came out, the scanner was super slow, and they had to release a patch to make it go faster because everyone hated it. Does that sound
I think
true
you
to anyone?
might be right, but I also got an upgrade to make scanning faster too.
I did as well.
But I just find it's very calming, and it's like real. Jim was saying in my stream chat, it's like, oh wow, isn't it just like super nice when you just see that rich planet appear?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best. I love sucking those things dry.
And
Depleted.
so it reminds me a lot of Star Control 2, which had a similar thing. So you're going to random planets and then scanning them, and then putting the little scanning cursor over the planet, and it's sort of like an EKG, and when there's a lot of a certain element, it like spikes up on this chart. So you want to like maneuver it so that you get the most elements for your probe, because you have to go buy more probes. They're not very expensive though.
Really quick, I did research Vanessa's memory, and it is a real memory. They did release a patch that not only made the scanning reticule bigger, it also increased the speed at which you could scan a planet.
Yeah, because I seem to remember it taking longer. Now it's pretty fast to go through, and you just get tons.
Yeah, and I
Tons of
guess
stuff.
turning the planets, like rotating the planets, was also very slow, and they made that a lot
Right.
faster.
There's next to the space station Purgatory, where you find Jack, there's a planet that has lots of Ezo. So definitely go there and suck out all that Ezo, because there's not that much of that, and that helps boost biotic abilities.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only planet so far I've found with Ezo on it.
Yeah,
You
I found
do
some of
know
that
it's
in like
called
crates.
Element 0 and not Ezo, right? Like you're just doing
Yeah.
a goof.
No, I mean in the game they call it Element 0. They also call it Ezo.
Do they?
Who calls it Ezo? Nobody calls it Ezo.
Lots of
You don't
people
know.
call it Ezo
Everybody
in the
calls
game.
it Ezo.
Nobody
Yeah.
calls it Ezo.
I call it Ezo.
It's EEZO.
Only
It's
the
Ezo.
Renegades call it Ezo. The Paragons have to call it Element
Right.
Zero.
Yeah, so you get lots of that, and I just find it's a very pleasant. You do you basically can only do with your initial amount of probes like 3 or 4 planets before you have to go to one of those fuel depots to buy more of the probes. And you can also run out of fuel.
What happens
which
if
is
you run out
another-
of fuel?
You just get like a money penalty, I think. Like a ship comes and refuels you, but it costs more than it would have
Yeah,
if you'd
you
gone
gotta
to a
call
fuel
AAA.
depot.
I never. I wanted
Exactly.
to find out, but I was like, am I gonna get a game over? Like, am I stranded in space at that point? I don't know what happens.
That's how it would be in the hardcore old school games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. If this was a PC game from 1992 and you ran out of gas in space, you'd just get an instant game over, and it would delete your save and
Yeah.
uninstall the game.
It would probably have a little message that was like, Shepard's ship drifted until life support failed. The end.
That's Sierra's version of this. All right, so squarely against. Matt, what are you squarely against?
Well, I'll just complain about the jankiness of the traversal controls and movement. It's roof, and it does bug me a lot, and it does trip me up in combat and frustrates me. And again, I understand that it's an old game, and I don't know. It was probably way better at the time than it feels now, but now it feels terrible because I just want to be able to walk around like a normal fucking person and look at things. What about you, John?
See, I kind of want to complain about the same thing. I'm just so bad at mouse and keyboard controls, and I find I complained about that last time. So let's talk about things I like. I like, this game's pretty. Like, I love the design of the environments you're walking around. I love just, like, looking around and seeing the cool buildings and stuff. I think this game's just fun to walk around. It's got the best environments of the Mass Effect games, I think.
It's very kind of Star Trek the movie. It has a lot of reflection surfaces and lens flares and things like that.
Vanessa, what are you squarely against?
I'm squarely against Jack's lack of a shirt. If you did wear just a belt around your chest, the chafing would be unbearable. And clearly no one thought about that when they were designing this character. They didn't think about physics. They didn't think about how women actually work. And it makes me think that there weren't any women actually working on this game. Ba-dum-bum. Ha-ha.
It's pretty likely.
My cat just mewed when I did that ba-dum-ba noise. I don't know if it was an agreement or what. That's it. Oh, who hasn't gone? Jim, what are you squarely against?
I'm roundly for the planet scanning. When you drag your reticule and that needle pops, I live for that. When you find a little planetoid and it's got a rich rating, I want to suck that planet dry. I like the planet scanning.
It's very good for listening to podcasts while you do it.
Agreed.
Who do you think the best companion is in this game so far, Jim?
Best companion so far. Garrus, for sure.
Matt?
I love Mordin. Mordin really is one of my favorite characters.
Oh, if we're talking about personality-wise,
delight.
Mordin. I was going to say, like, who do I enjoy having in my party more? Just, like, practically is Garrus.
Practically Jacob for me because he's got pull. I think he's the only one so far in my party that has pull. Oh, maybe Jack does too. No, does Jack have pull? Yeah, Jack does have pull. But that's such a useful ability. It's overpowered from the start. And he's always super deadly. He doesn't, because I do find like Jack dies a lot on hard, and I keep having to resurrect Jack. But I also like having Grunt in the party because it's fun having a little Krogan buddy, a big space frog running around.
For emails, for our patrons, we did a special holiday memories episode. And we solicited holiday memories from our listeners, and some of them didn't quite come in time for the record, but I would like to share some of them with you now. First, our friend Bree wrote in, I got a Game Boy one Christmas, and it came with Tetris, which my mom borrowed to play quite a bit as she was the Tetris master in the house. Also got Castlevania a different year, which totally ruled, but my secret shame is I've never beaten it as I'm bad at video games. Bree, I am also bad at video games. I popped in the notes. Our friend Race had a memory. Does someone want to read that?
Sure. I'll read that. Unfortunately, my parents never supported my gaming habits, and every console I owned as a kid had to be bought with my lawn mowing / car washing money. I guess they did get me Guitar Hero that one year, so it wasn't all bad.
That's very sad, but I'm sure that they're proud of themselves that they managed to break you of that habit before you reached adulthood. Clearly, it worked. There's also one from our friend, Dr. Stephen Stone. I'll read it.
Okay.
Oh, do you want to do it, Jim?
No, you...
Please do it
Okay.
in
No,
Dr.
Jim,
Stone's
yeah,
voice.
Oh, I don't want to
deepen your
do
voice a lot.
impression.
Come on.
No, Vanessa, you do it.
Come on, do it. Do it. No,
Yeah,
I don't
don't
want to
do
do
that.
an impression. Fun fact, Dr. Stephen Stone is one of the very last people I saw in person before the pandemic lockdown.
It's because he's a doctor.
Yeah, he got me checked out.
Dr. Stone says, my parents totally caught me by surprise when in 1987 I opened up a new NES. I never even asked for it because I was so sure I wouldn't get one. I even got Zelda, which became my favorite game for a long time.
That's amazing. Can you guys imagine being alive in the 80s and playing those video games like when they came out?
Well,
I can't.
1987,
Yeah.
I would have been having my very first Christmas.
No, we're all
No,
we're all
in our
20
20s.
somethings.
We're all
Oh,
in
yeah.
our early 20s.
Born in the late 90s.
The late
I was born
90s.
in 2001.
Oh, wow. So you can't even drink, Vanessa.
No.
Wow.
Did you know that everyone who was born before the year 2000 can drink now? So when they check IDs, they just have to look for the one.
I
start of the year.
saw that in a tweet or something. That's crazy.
I was thinking about so the Apple keyboard I used to edit on for my podcast is now old enough to drive a car.
That's great.
Yeah, I doubt it could pass the driving test, though.
Why do you have to be so
Yeah.
cruel?
Speaking of
I'm
sitcom
sorry.
jokes.
So we do have a YouTube stream. We did just stream last night the ending of Dark Seed 2. So
What?
please go watch that. This is Monday morning.
Oh, yeah. Time crime.
You were just dying to explain that to me, weren't you? I understood, John. I was just wetting you in like appreciation. It's just part of the show.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, sir. So
What?
we
You
do
don't have to explain it to me for real, though.
we do have YouTube streams. Check out if you Google on YouTube, go to youtube.com and then in that little search
Google YouTube.com.
and then go into YouTube search bar.
It's
then type
actually
Square
one
Roots.
word.
All right.
It's
First,
Dark
Open your
Seed.
browser.
First, open YouTube and find an article or find a video that explains how to use Google. Then go to Google, type in youtube.com square roots, and maybe, I don't know, third result?
Yeah, because it's not the
Yeah.
first result. It's not the one that has our episodes where we did get a copyright strike for having some Mass Effect
Did you
music.
guys get that
Whoopsies.
notification too the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so go watch our streams. We're going to be streaming Phantasmagoria 2 later this month, so that will be very fun. What's our Patreon all about, Jim?
Well, we have a ton of content available on our Patreon. At the $3 level, you get access to all that content. We have some level up episodes. We have some Square Roots Versus episodes. We have some Instant Classic episodes. There's also a few, holiday episodes peppered in there. We just released our Holiday Memories episode, where we did some ranking of the favorite games that we played in 2020. And at the $5 level, you get access to all that content, plus the ability to vote on games that we play here on the podcast. So a few times a year, we will open up voting for our mainline Square Roots games. The game that we finished prior to this, which was Vagrant Story, was actually a poll winner. So at the $5 level, you get access to all of that sweet, sweet content.
I feel bad. Like, people voted for us to play that, and we didn't like to play it.
Yeah, we didn't do a very good job on that one.
Yeah, but sometimes that's what happens. Just because you vote for it doesn't mean we're going to love it. I love a lot of the games that other people don't, and Matt doesn't love anything, so there you go.
Anything or anyone, baby.
And another benefit to being a patron at whatever level is we will read your Patreon name on the podcast. So I will kick us off. Oh, wait, one thing. If you'd like to sign up to be a patron, you can do so at patreon.com/Square Roots Podcast. So for the weekly reading of the names, I will start with the very model of a scientist Solarian, Hat Ben, the Ben with the hat, Michael Crawford, Citrus C, way more Lepity more by 2024, Alex Dullard, Sean Walsh, Fresh Eyes, Alexander Jokic, Race Jenkins, Andy Best, Chris Penyak, EP, Sean. Did Joker take his nickname from an ancient Earth supervillain or a JRPG? Sergeant Spaghetti.
The playing card.
Jim's disturbingly attractive Asari girlfriend. Oops, I forgot to update my name for Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is great, and I love it more than I love doing Square Roots. Sean Gonzalez. Picturing what's beyond
what?
Sydney's route always ends up being the Final Fantasy in my spank bank and results in new squoot stains.
Oh,
Lord.
no.
Oh, no.
It's peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Ari Corpivara, Chili's Baby Back Luigi, OMG What Is This Game, Jonathan Ellsworth, Hales, Miguel Torres, Chief Hazard built a guillotine that has the hungies for billionaires, Matthew Newland, Cake Ninja, Christopher Highness, Aiden Marriott, Jameson, and WWE Mike G.
Grayson, Christian Go, Jake Dickerson, George Brady, Sexy Grandma's Boy Toy is the RPG Luminary, Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021, Joshua W. Broxson, Aaron J. O'Toole, Pet the Three-Headed Hell Doggo, Wedge Coon.
That's a
Reed Garrett.
Hades reference.
Yeah, it's Cerberus, the hound that guards the gates of Hades. Hades, I mean, being the god of, you understand. Aaron Bachman, Romance Grunt, Stephen Paget, Joseph, Wash in the Wind, Justin Ham, Cyril the Wolf, Nathan Poirot, DJ Ethro, Gage La Charité, Florian Jonas Kramer, Robot in Greece, Saving Sid, Chris Ryan, Megan Sullivan, Armin Hammer. Fable is great, but so is Threads of Fate. Play it in 2021 or the cuzzle will still drizzle gallons and gallons all over the Square Roots podcast. Matt Jorgensen, Randy P., TJ Miller's Horny Grandma Impression, Adam Zimmerman, Ward Childress, Isaac Wright, Andy Smith.
We'd also like to thank Paul Bursch, Justin Rash, Arthur A., Listen Up Squoot Stains. The Challenge is the official show of the Square Roots podcast. Matthew Casterline, Eyes of the Shifter, Cassandra, and I will always cuddle you.
And I...
Cameron Shoei, Ryan Miller, Huxley Iguana, Jack Mizell, Eric Garby, Vanessa's mother's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate, the ghosts of Johnny's murdered fable husbands, Amanda Douglas, still waiting for a dateable Krogan.
You and me both.
Tyler Petty, PJ Enns, David Green, Joshua Bennett, Samu Mitchell, Lyriel of the Claire, Ron, Chris Wilder, Vanessa's Gold Taco Bell PS5, Vanessa's mom, Devin Sloan, Ross Hartley, Dr. Fine, Say Everyone's Name, Mary, Queen of Scoffs, Troy Shiftlet,
Shifley.
Troy Shipley,
Andrew
I'm
making
Leinart,
that up.
William Westgard, Robert J. Defendi, Andy M. We all know what Garrus is recalibrating, Brian Pitt, and Dylan Rowe.
I'd like to thank Tom, Hexagon, Robert T, Ross Disney, Grey Code, Stu Skeel, Robert Pullum, Ashley T's Juicy Dumper? That better be Ashley T who wrote that. Vanessa's mom says hello to Vanessa's gold-plated Taco Bell PS5. Play Final Fantasy VIII. It is your fate. No. The Sega Genesis was a truly great console for great people. Mostly _rational _person, Hudson Roth, Jordan McNeil. You make Sulk sad. I challenge the other Tracy to a duel to the pain. Dan, Lauren Prince, insert clever name here, Nick. Tracy, Jason Timms, Kevin Walter, Ethan Person, Soy, Soda Pop.
All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. You can email us at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod on Twitter.
Thanks to Ro Panuganti and Lord Biff for letting us use their cover of Mass Effect 2's Suicide Mission. Follow them on YouTube. There's links to the song and to their respective YouTubes in the show notes.
All right, everyone. For Square Roots, I'm Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa.
Bye. Will always. Sorry.
Genesis was great.
Hello, listeners. My name is Matthew. Perfect. Looks good.
It's a rare condition
This day and age to read any good news.
news on the newspaper page.
Love and tradition.